Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Princess Leah 888, and this is your daily divine messages from Spirit, your weekly wisdom from Spirit here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am on the mission here to do my part to heal the heart of the divine masculine and the sacred feminine through conscious love. And if you're a returning family and friend, welcome back, beloved. Thank you for always supporting our Vibe Tribe and being a part. If you'd like to be a part of our Vibe Tribe, do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live. I do just want to give it a heads up. There is a chance that I may have a disruption in the middle of our reading today, as I am expecting some people to come for to do some routines around our house. So if that is the case, you may hear a knock on the door and I may have to go ahead and finish up. But until then, I'm here with you with my undivided attention. Spirit is here with us. Our divine, gracious, omnipresent, divine Holy Spirit here with us to help us channel the highest frequencies of conscious love. So thank you for being with us and thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and tap into our heart space so we can see if there's any intuitive downloads before I go into the pre-pulled cards that I was tapping into the energy for earlier. And we will continue. So you can place your hand on your heart if you would like. You can close your eyes. You can take a deep breath. Let's begin. This week, today's kicks off spring break for many, my son in particular. And ironically enough, the first day of spring break, it's 14 degrees and snow. And it was snowing all yesterday. And, my son had a moment this morning where I was going to scrape all the ice off the car and warm it up. And I said, go ahead and put your clothes on. And when I came back, he was still in his underwear. And I was like, why aren't your clothes on? We got to go. And he got very upset at this. Now, not to share my personal details too much, but Spirit is giving me an okay to share this because someone here might also be experiencing similar similarities, and this may or may not, just at least help you know that you're not alone, and maybe it'll help me feel that way too. But my son is high functioning on the autism spectrum, and he's an extremely, extremely exquisite, brilliant soul. His name is Indigo, and he is very much a intuitive starseed being. And he got he took it very personally when I asked him, why are you not dressed? Because he could sense the frustration in my energy. Now, even though my voice may have seemed a little bit more, I was trying to not come off as irritated or frustrated, because I know that once he feels rushed, he kind of shuts down. So I was doing my best, but I said that, and my energy was louder than my words, and he shut down and he just started crying. And it triggered the inner child in me, and it triggered the inner child who would cry for what seemed to be no reason to some people, um, where they couldn't quite understand why I was just bawling for no reason, or it would just irritate them, or maybe trigger them as well. And I'm pulling these intuitive downloads while I'm also taking a look at these cards, and I'm seeing the Starseed Elemental and Oppression with the Page of Wands. And that is exactly this energy of the sensitive, we as sensitive star seeds, we as sensitive, highly sensitive beings, very energetically sensitive, may have always felt this sense of overwhelm when energy was conflicting or hostile, or, just, you know, made us feel un emotionally. The word is coming up is unsafe, but too unsafe to express our gifts, our starseed elementals, and that caused us to be oppressed. Perhaps you have felt oppressed in your sensitive, energetic, intuitive, otherworldly energy, and beingness. And that has made you feel like you had to, throw the covers over you, like this oppression card here. And when he went upstairs, and I let him have a few minutes while he was, crying, because I wanted him to just, I needed the space, because I didn't want to, be, while I was feeling triggered, trying to like force energy. So I let him have his space, and I gave myself my space. But when I went up there and I thought he was changing, I found that he was under the covers. And I asked him, "Why are you under the covers? Do you not want to go to this camp?" Because even though it's spring break, we signed up for a camp. Like I said, he's very smart, so we're in a coding camp. And, as an adult, I'm thinking, well, this camp was X amount of money, and, do you not want to go? And I just spent 15 minutes out in the cold trying to get this car. And so my human unconscious brain started feeling all these like feelings of rush and scarcity and financial scarcity and all this stuff. And he was hiding from that energy, under the covers. And just like this oppression card. And so I'm hearing today, especially with the irony, the paradox of spring break, but it's 14 degrees and snowing, is like you might be feeling this like, what's the word? Upside down wants to come through, and a false expectation is also coming through. And maybe that's something that you are learning to free yourself from, learning to take in, learning to understand about yourself. Maybe this week, I'm hearing this week may be a week of that reflection. We're in the final week of Mercury in retrograde in Pisces, which is that intuitive artist, intuitive soul seeker, truth seeker. Mercury being the messenger of the gods, and retrograde is the time of reflection, review, reevaluation. And so maybe at this moment, this week, we're being called, and I keep saying maybe because that's my inner space, not trusting fully of what is coming through as a download from spirit. This week, we are being asked to really look into our heart, to trust our becoming and who we are, our high sensitivity, our energetic sovereignty, and really honor our spiritual hygiene from those who may unconsciously and unintentionally oppress our true, authentic beingness. Those who may feel threatened by the freeness of our childlike, otherworldly, starseed innocence of being in joy, or choosing to be our true self, true authentic self, because it may trigger others, not on a personal basis about you, but on an internal conflict that they have within themselves of the oppression that they had upon their own emotions and dreams and desires and intuitive connection with Source. And seeing you more in alignment, or coming into more in alignment, and may also trigger, or seeing others moving in their own alignment at their own pace may trigger you, because it's reminding us that there is a balance between our feminine, our masculine, our higher self, our human self, that is being integrated. That's what the heart frequency, the heart chakra is, the balance, the integration of our higher self, our human self, our physical, earthly self, heaven and earth, integrating. We are the vessel that is that integration. And those who are not familiar, those who have been oppressed, may feel a certain way. So give them space, give them their space, and you may feel a certain way about others that may be bringing up where you have been oppressed in yourself. So give yourself space and grace as well. Thank you, Spirit. So continuing on with these are the cards that I'm picking up on in that downloaded message. The starseed elemental oppression. Have you been feeling? This is where we are coming into recognition during this Mercury retrograde of where our starseed elemental has been oppressed, our otherworldly, out of this world, out of this earth world, where we tune into the cosmic intelligence that is within us, the source, creator of the gracious, omnipresent divine, that we are a direct vessel to, and a direct extension of. But if we have been oppressed in that way, the ethers, yes, balance forces you see here, if we have been oppressed over our childhood, with the Page of Wands here as well. If our childlike curiosities, if our childlike adventures, if our childlike dreams and passions were oppressed, then being tuned in to the ethers of this beautiful balance forces could have been very, very opposing. It could have been very, very veiling and restricting. And this week we are coming into freedom We're coming into our freedom as the starseed element, as the starseed that we are, because we are learning how to go beyond the mind of judgment, fear, sabotage, guilt, doubt, shame, and false expectations that we think we have to, of who we think we have to be. Again, maybe you have completely neglected or abandoned your true, authentic self as a child because you were ashamed for being so sensitive or being so connected to source that it made people uncomfortable. And you thought, well, in order to survive, this is the ego, in order to survive, I'm going to have to cover up all this. I'm going to have to cover up all this to make other people comfortable, to make, to make sure that I don't get scrutinized or exiled or abandoned. So I'm going to abandon myself so that I don't get abandoned in this world. And we're coming back into our life force energy this week. We're evolving back to our true balance, our freedom. We're evolving. Our DNA is remembering our life force energy, and it's rebalancing our forces of our feminine, our masculine, our creative, our physical, our non-physical and physical, our desires into manifestation, our yin and our yang, our shadows and our light. We are balancing those forces by tuning and tapping into our life force energy, source, divine. It's a beautiful energy. But what Moonology Spirit is saying here, the answers that you need are coming. So if you've been asking yourself, how do I balance these forces? How do I tap back into the freedom of being my true authentic self just as I was before the world oppressed me? The answers you need are coming. Meditate and contemplate and bring love into the situation. These are new moon energies of Aquarius and Pisces, which they are back to back. Aquarius and then Aquarius goes into Pisces. Pisces is the final final sign of the zodiac. And with this new moon coming up this week, it is the new moon in Pisces. And it is the final new moon that we are going to have before we move into our brand new zodiac calendar year of Aries. So to have so much Piscean energy this week with the new moon, the moon in Pisces, the sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, I think Mars is still in Pisces. I don't think Mars has moved into Aries yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we also have the North Node in Pisces. So we have a very, very strong Pisces stellium, which is why Spirit is encouraging us to meditate and contemplate on all of this childhood oppression, starseed oppression, so you can balance these forces. Balance the forces of, I'm hearing good and evil, but I'm also hearing, is there such thing as good versus evil? Or is it just, as Abraham Hicks likes to say, is being in alignment with source or not being in alignment with source? Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements wants us to take our life and enjoy it. The fourth agreement, always do your best. Why? Because you are alive. So take your life and enjoy it. You were born with the right to be happy, to love, and to share your love. You were born with the right, okay? Starseed, you were born with the right to love and to share your love, to be happy. That is your birthright, just to be, to take a risk and enjoy your life, regardless of those who have oppressed you, regardless of the generational oppressors, the oppressors over our ancestors, the oppressors over this earth, the oppressors over our throat chakra, the oppressors over our solar plexus, of our truth, expressing our truth and trusting in our intuitive guidance, our self-will power to take a risk, to enjoy your life, to be your true authentic self is all that matters. That's all that matters. That's the number one purpose. So be aware of unconscious assumptions. Don't make assumptions, because assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time, because we have agreements to communicate this way. We've agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We've agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. They should know. So we feel these the unconscious assumptions that, maybe we feel unconsciously that we'll continue to be oppressed if we balance our forces, if we step into our true authentic self. Because of what has happened in the past, we put everyone in that category. And we fear to take the veil off. We fear to speak our truth. We fear to trust our intuition. We fear to live in freedom and balance. But ether here is also about starting at ground zero, starting in the non-physical. Okay, that's that Piscean energy as well. So this is a really big one this week. Eliminate gossip. This is really big. And I'm hearing the gossip about ourselves, even. The gossip about talking about ourselves, our oppression, our victimhood, our, and gossiping about others. Let's read it. Miguel says, making assumptions is a setup for suffering, because usually we gossip about our assumptions. We make assumptions and believe we are right. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. So even under the oppression that we have been in as children, even under the oppression that maybe we feel we are doing to our children or our beloveds or ourselves, when we make those assumptions about ourselves in a negative manner or other people in a negative manner, even if they have done negative things, gossiping is only a tool that I'm hearing is a recipe for suffering. It's a recipe to continue separation consciousness, instead of balancing the forces together, instead of recognizing that, again, even the oppressors are oppressing because they've been oppressed. Hurt people, and we're not going to stop hurting. We can't stop hurting someone by hurting them, right? We can't fight fire with fire. Enjoy heaven on earth. Be impeccable with your word. That's how you'll take your life and enjoy it. Impeccability of the word, the first agreement, the most important agreement. That's why eliminate gossip is right above it. Because impeccability of the word can lead to personal freedom. Can't make this up. Personal freedom. And we have 24 and 25, taking those steps. It can lead to personal freedom and success and abundance. You can attain the kingdom of heaven from this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word. Love and respect yourself. Eliminate gossip. Try not to talk about what other people are doing, even if you're saying, oh, well, I'm talking about them because I care, or I'm talking about them because I want to pray for them. No, just don't. And also with yourself. How much do we tell our own stories in ways of almost belittling ourselves by holding on to the victim mentality, by holding on to the anger and resentment and grudges of how we've been done wrong. I don't know if you can hear the background, but the neighbors are, I don't know, doing something. But I hope that's making sense. This is going to be a really interesting week with such big energy of the new moon on Wednesday the 18th, with the spring solstice here on the 21st, and we have Aries season beginning on the I believe it's the 22nd or 23rd. Let me double check, but it's coming up. There's also something coming on the 20th. Oh, Mercury goes direct. So that's why it's really important that we meditate this week and contemplate on what we are saying about ourselves, saying about other people, so that we can create our heaven on earth, so we can manifest our freedom and balance our forces of our light, shadow, feminine, masculine, our starseed back into our true, authentic alignment. So, some positive messages for this week. Choose to think positive thoughts. Go beyond the mind of the chatter, of the sadness, of the habitual, and even the addictive reactivity that we are used to, that we have become so accustomed to, of thinking negative thoughts. Choose to think positive thoughts. Choose to be confident this week. Choose to be confident in your starseed elemental and believe in your goals and dreams. I believe in my goals and dreams. Tell yourself the answers you need are coming. So tell yourself, I believe in my goals and dreams. Today, I choose to be confident. Today, I choose to think positive thoughts. That is how you will get into your own freedom. It's not about what people are doing to you. It's about the choice, the freedom of your own choice to live in conscious love, regardless of what's happening around you. Easier said than done, but that is the answer that you need. Okay? I hope this helps. I'm going to go ahead and end while I'm on ahead and no one's knocked on the door yet. And if this really resonated with you, definitely hit that like button. Share it with anyone that you think would benefit from this message. And if you want to be a part of my Vibe Tribe, do subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live. And until next time, my beautiful beloveds, I will see you in the next moon. Peace and love. Namaste. Bye.